everybody. Welcome to a Monday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. In case you don't know, this is a comedy sports talk show where we have comedians talk about sports. And let's bring up the comedian known as Talent and the comedian known as Fig. These guys have been in and around the comedy world for years and years and years. They've been in comedy films, film festivals, traveled the world. They've done everything you can do in comedy. And now, like I said, they're in a comedy sports talk show where we talk about sports. First of all, how was you guys' weekend?
Yo, it was a wonderful weekend for a black man. Look at me. I love being black.
I like that t-shirt. Fig, what's up?
Yeah, I was going to get that shirt, but mom was going to say, I love being beige. It was a lovely weekend.
Oh, man, I don't know if it's hot where you guys are, but it looked like it's about to be a hot week and things getting ready to be heated up. So I'm absolutely loving it, too. So I think it's going to be t-shirt week this week. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, the weather's going to be crazy. Same as, I think you're getting the same weather starting off today and tomorrow, 75.
Yeah, we did.
The rest of the next 7 days in the 80s.
Yeah, oh yeah, we getting there. Can't wait. All right, let's get this thing started off. I always start off with the COVID report. You guys know how I get down. I found out this morning that there are going to be some more Olympic people in the Olympics who normally would be going to the Olympics right now because the Olympics are 8 weeks away. They normally would be going there, setting up and everything else. Talent, I'm going to start with you. Guess what the word is now? A lot more of them are not returning to going to Japan. And it's right now we are half staff and they're 8 weeks away. Concerned?
Yeah, I think I'm concerned, but they should be more concerned than me. They got a lot more vested individually. Question is, and this is a conspiracy theory, are people using this? Because remember, once they announce that they're going to be banning protesters, are people using COVID to not go?
Good possibility.
You know what I mean? Think about that, because it's a safe way that I don't have to make the news, oh, he's not going because he went to protest. I just say, COVID concerns or protocol, or I think I got it, or I got symptoms, just to get out of going.
Good thought. Fig, good thought.
Yo, man, that sounds like a perfect excuse. Right now, you can use COVID for anything. Yo, why you late to work? Oh, man, it was COVID all over the highway, man. COVID
all over the highway.
COVID had traffic backed up. The COVID made my train late. I mean, you can use COVID for anything. I think the real thing is that in Japan, when they serve you steak, you got to look at it with the side eye. The steak in Japan is suspect. That's why people really don't want to go. You can't trust the steak in Japan. No, I don't know, man. It's just like, I can't imagine people, not being afraid, because the truth be told is that the United States does have a great, if you can afford it, a great medical, team, great healthcare and stuff like that. And other countries are just not up to par. If you watch world news, you can see a lot of countries don't have the supplies and stuff like that the United States have. And God forbid somebody gets sick out of the country, you could really be in a trick bag, man. So I understand.
At the end of the day, Japan's supposed to be one of those countries that are having issues with the vaccine. So we'll see what goes on. Next up, man, the next up thing to talk about, because I do want to get to the NBA and stuff like that. That's coming up because this was a big weekend. Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua have their fight set. And the WBA and the heavyweight boxing people are trying to put a lot of stock in this Tyson Fury thing. The fight is set for August 14th. Talent, are you excited to see this heavyweight boxing fight? What's your thoughts?
No, not right. I've been kind of, for lack of a better word, disappointed in the heavyweight division and weight class for quite some time. I feel that when you think of boxing, the heavyweight division should lead the way. You know what I mean? And then everything else down. And over the last decade and a half, it's been vice versa. We've watched all the big, interesting heavyweights and contenders slowly dissipate and disappear. And then now, next thing you know, all we're talking about is guys like Mayweather, who's about this big in real life, right? So, I'm not excited about it at all.
Okay, Fig, are you excited about this Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua fight at all?
No, man, these are guys. I think the heavyweights are just big guys, man. They're almost like weightlifters. It used to be like, the heavyweight division used to be some guys that had skill They had movement, boxing skills like the Muhammad Ali's, the Joe Frazier's. George Foreman was probably one of the first guys that boxed in his early years. It didn't look like he had real skills. These guys just look like they lean on each other and lumbering, and it's like it's like the guy who can outlast the other guy is the winner. You know, whoever doesn't get tired and pass out.
Yeah, who could out lean on the next?
Yeah, but is that also while you're trying to dodge that one? Because everybody throws that winner. You know what I mean? Everybody throws that one.
That's why they lean, Frank.
Yeah,
that's what make it so
I know.
Because when you look at heavyweights and you see a lot of that leaning, people think, oh, they just lazy. No, they try to stay out of the way of that one.
Yeah, because that one that haymaker will come and end the whole fight. You know.
But I must admit, man, that dude Tyson Fury, man, he does have a big punch. You know what I mean? And he can get you out of there. I mean, Tyson, I've seen a couple of his fights, man. Tyson Fury's not bad. Joshua, I don't know, man.
I mean, look at it like this, Fig. And Frank, think back. When you go back over a decade ago, boxing, especially the heavyweight division, we rushed home or to wherever they were showing that fight. That was an event for a Saturday night. Think how big that means, because people hate to waste their Saturday night. Saturday night is that one night that our folks hate to waste. That's the party night. But we would waste the Saturdays, club-wise, to go to a spot who was showing the fight that night. And that'd be the night. We good. We got some drinks there, some food. We want to see this fight. And if it was Tyson, the fight was all of 2 minutes, but you still hung out and drank. Now, these guys, it's like if it's on or you happen to be where it's on and you're having a drink, you'll watch it because you're there, but you're not getting dressed and making plans to go. This thing ain't that kind of fight to me.
Yeah, it's not an event.
Yeah,
the heavyweight division is not an event anymore.
So Marv Albert now is retiring. You know what I mean? So I don't know about you guys. I just wanted to mention it and say, for me, with Marv Albert retiring, I'm not. It will sound different next year when you don't hear Kobe Bryant or no, now since Kobe passed away, LeBron James for the facial. You know what I mean? I'm not so used to not hearing that now. You know what I mean? I was like LeBron James facial.
Yeah, you worry about all the wrong stuff, man.
No, I'm just saying.
How much is that toupee going to auction off for? Do you remember? See, I don't know how it is in Boston, but remember Marv got in trouble and so the New York paper, the New York Post is the worst, right? So they put up, because when you take your mugshot, everything got come off. Like, so we have this whole thing. We're laughing in New York because they'll take everything off. So he take the chain off, watch off, everything. And Marv, sometimes these guys wear these toupees so long, they forget that ain't their hair. So the guy's like, everything. He was like, I took everything off. I was like, what? The guy come over there, take this thing off. So the mugshot is without this, both ways like that. Man, the New York Post, pow, they got that mugshot.
Really? I did not know that. So Marv Albert got it.
If you pull up Google, when we get off Google, Marv Albert's arrest mugshot. When I seen that, I remember waking up that morning because I didn't know what happened when it happened in real time. So I remember getting the paper and I'm reading who's this that got arrested? I thought it was Berkowitz. I thought they found him again. The son of Sam. It was Marv Albert. Dude.
Hold on. You called Marv Albert Berkowitz? Really?
He looked like the son of Sam.
David. He's David Berkowitz.
Dave Burke was Marv Berkowitz. I'm like, I thought we caught this guy. Yo, wait till you see the picture. You're going to be like, Talon ain't lying. Watch.
All right,
the thing about Marv Albert, man, he's retiring, man, but, other people retired before him, man. So he's just like a copycat retirer, man. He's a biter.
Biter.
Let's move on. I wanted to mention this because I don't talk about baseball a lot, but Shohei Ohtani, he won the game in the ninth inning with the Red Sox and everything else. But here's the thing, and I'm gonna throw it to you, Talent. I don't know if you realize this. I'm sure you probably don't, but he is leading the American League. Actually, he's leading the league with the most home runs. I can't remember the last time a pitcher as leading the league in the most home run. He got 12 home runs right now at this point in the year, and he's leading the league. So
yeah, I mean, and you know what's funny is it's funny you say that because normally I probably wouldn't be aware of that, but when I woke up, the first thing I did was, throw on all these live sports talk shows, to catch up on stuff whenever I have a busy weekend. And everybody was saying it. I heard it 4 times between the morning and now. So, I mean, yeah, I do know now. And he is kicking ass, bro. He is kicking ass. They showed all the highlights. I'm like, damn, I'm mad at Fig because listening to Fig, I've been missing all my baseball highlights.
Hey, what you think?
Yo, man, I got a Pelican brief, man. What if the pitchers are not really pitching to this guy to make him look good? What if the other pitchers in the game are soft throwing him so he can hit the ball out just to make the game interesting? What if he really can't hit like that? Because ain't nobody else hitting like that. How all of a sudden he can hit like that and he's a pitcher? What if this is like at the beginning of the year, everybody put in the kitty and he pulled the straw that he was going to be the guy who they wasn't going to really pitch to and they was going to give him an opportunity to hit so they can make other pitchers look good.
That's a good theory.
What about that?
Yeah, I don't like that theory. I don't like that theory. So I'm gonna throw that one out there. Now, and my last baseball news update real fast is yesterday morning, Albert Pujols signed with the LA Dodgers and talent. I think this is a way for him to go out gracefully. You know what I mean? Because he now has a great way to get out with a dignified exit. What you think about Albert Pujols signing with the Dodgers to play first base?
Well, I would be surprised if he didn't sign with somebody right away. Because leaving the last situation in the uproar like that, you want closure. Everybody wants closure, regardless of what people may say sometimes. Who don't want closure, especially to bad situations? So I would be surprised if he didn't do that. And what better team than the Dodgers to give you a shot, ended on a big bang. Right.
Good point. Big.
Yeah, man. I figured that somebody was going to pick him up because it's still early in the season. I know he was hitting under 200, but I mean his reputation speaks for itself. I mean, he was a superstar player, hitter. So I figured, it's a long season. Somebody would give him an opportunity, and plus, I'm pretty sure they got him on the cheap. So it's like a win-win if he picks up and gets back into form, it's a win for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are stacked anyway. They're supposed to win the whole thing. So adding him, you can't really lose if you add. That's the way I look at it. So let's keep the show rolling on. There's something I want to talk about this weekend. And usually when you guys talk about conspiracy theories and things like that, I sometimes, you guys know me, I brush it off. You know what I mean? I say, okay, yeah, maybe, possibly, but maybe not. I'm gonna be honest. But this just started watching thing, man, it's really got me tripping. It's really got me tripping. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because Friday night, this story was released. I haven't seen it on ESPN, Fox Sports, I haven't seen it anywhere except one thing, and it's a fact. Here it is, and I'm gonna start with you, Talent. Here it is. Tony Busby, he represents the 22 women. You know what I mean? He got caught. He got caught with recordings and text messages of sending over to Deshaun Watson's legal team seeking a settlement ahead of time. This came after, you hear the word, after the NFL interviewed 4 women. So the timing of this happened to me is, wow, okay, it looks like Deshaun Watson's getting ready to look like he's not caught doing anything. And they're seeking right now, let's get a settlement before the NFL interviews the other women. You know what I mean? Is this not sound like, am I crazy? Am I tripping here? What you think? Am I tripping?
No, it sounds like cracks at the seam to me. It sounds like, and here's the thing about lawyers, man. Anybody's ever been around a lawyer, whether he was on one side of it or the other, one thing about the lawyers is if anybody knows cracks in a case first, is the legal team. Right. They know what will stand up. They know what won't work. They know how to drag things out. They know if they need to drag things out. So it sounds like in this case, the legal team and the lawyer knew, okay, we got something that's a little scary. It's worth a shot of going to see if we can get a quick payday. And then when the quick payday didn't work, the next plan B was to pile on the numbers, like Fig said in the beginning. Perception is reality, to make it look worse than it is. But the problem is, they probably got caught in the middle of doing two things they didn't want to do. They wanted to do an either or, and they got caught with both things going on. So once the NFL stepped in, I think the lawyer knew. He tried to get that settlement because he knew it was about 4 or 5 of these chicks that was going to blow it wide open the wrong way. And I think they got caught with the hand in the cookie jar.
Exactly. Big.
Hey man, I knew this. Listen, when you talk about masseuse, they use a lot of lubricant. So I knew this was a slippery case from the beginning. So all I'm saying is, it's like, yo, I ain't trusted from the beginning. You know what I mean? I knew that it was suspect. And the thing is that in order for a conspiracy to go down, you got to have some big time players on your side to make it happen. I think this was the owner of the Texan and his friend that was a neighbor, and possibly a few disgruntled ex-masseuse of Deshaun Watson that decided they wanted a payday. And once a couple of comes on board and you figure like there's some money that is possible to gain, then you get a lot of other people that just join the class action suit. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been, you ever open up that envelope in your mailbox and be like, well, hey, if you ever use AT&T, you know what I mean, as a cell phone service, we got a class action suit because they charge too much money. And if you just put your name down, then you could be a part of it. I think it's that type of thing. When there's a money grab, there's a money grab.
All right, but my thing is this. And I want to see if you all feel me on this one or from me. Notice the difference of what happened here. It's not in any of the news cycles. Like I was watching sports since 7 o'clock this morning. Deshaun Watson hasn't been mentioned on anything at all. I even watched one show twice. He's not mentioned on the news cycle, not mentioned, and all this mysteriously happened after the NFL interviews 4 women. And also it coincided, the coincidental part of it is, that happened after, on Friday when they thought that things were going to happen and they knew the NFL was going to interview these women. That's one thing. And then the flip side of that thing, which made me start to get angry for Deshaun Watson, is all of this started to happen. And then the guy gets recorded. He gets caught reaching out to Deshaun Watson's camp. You don't see that anywhere. No text messages. They caught his text messages. They got his emails. They got everything else, and they reached out first. And we all know when one person reaches out first, that's a sign of something. There's a crank in your armor. That's my point of this whole thing. So,
but we always talk about the accusation and allegation is always going to be a bigger headline than
exactly.
Than the other way. Once you're innocent, that write up is this big. When you're accused, that write up is a headline. But when they go, oh, he didn't do nothing, they give you this. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and in the back end, they give that. That's the apology is always the small print behind the obituaries, but the accusation is always frontline news. And you know what? This really could be a black eye to the NFL shield if it finds out that these guys were just doing this. You know what I mean? To get at Deshaun Watson. If it was a frivolous type of thing, this could really look bad for the NFL shield if it looks like that the owner of the Houston Texans brought this on because he was angry because Deshaun Watson wanted to leave. That makes it look really bad.
I think the opposite though. I think the NFL looks like the superhero.
And I think the NFL and everybody involved looks worse if they could prove that it has race to be a factor on this. You know what I mean? Because and I'm not even talking about, we all know about what happened to Ben Roethlisberger and everything else, but it screams racism to me. Screams it to me. Maybe I'm wrong. It just screams it to me that you got a black quarterback. He's in a certain situation, and the exact same thing happened with Ben Roethlisberger. And Ben Roethlisberger, that was swept under the rug. I mean, everything, and he was guilty. You know what I mean? He was guilty. He figured it out.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Owners and people like that can always be replaced. The fact that it unravels when the NFL comes in with their investigation gives them the superhero brand. Because it's like in the NBA with the Clippers guy when he got caught on the wire. They just replaced him. Clippers are still moving on as an organization. That's what will happen to this guy. But the NFL looks like dun, 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 to the rescue.
Yeah,
Right. If the NFL, if the NFL comes in and stops it, but just the sheer fact that an NFL owner would do something like that, it sort of makes the NFL look bad because he's an owner. You know what I mean? And they own the Shield.
All right, let's move on. The next thing I want to talk about was this weekend we had the NFL, the NBA had Hall of Fame weekend. It was a real huge weekend, and we all know why. They even announced the NBA class of next week. Let's first talk about the NBA weekend. I know you guys got a chance to see it. Talent, you tell me what your takeaway was from the weekend, and then Fig, I'm gonna ask yours, and I'll tell you mine. Go ahead, Talent, you go first.
Well, I first of all, congratulations to everybody. I thought everybody was well deserved that was inducted. I loved the speeches and the humor, and how they, as a comedian and as a guy who hosts a lot of shows, I can appreciate the levity at times, to transfer into the energy of the room, how sometimes it got real heavy. They try to save it for the end with Vanessa Bryant. But I really, really enjoyed that a guy like Bill Russell can get up there more than once because he did more than one thing in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that we can get him in there as a player. We can get him in there as a coach. We can get him in there as a businessman. You know what I mean? So I really like that. And it's always a class thing to see. So shout out to everybody that got in there. You know who my favorite guy in the whole world is, Tim Duncan.
Mm-hmm. All right, Fig, what's your thoughts?
Man, I loved it, man. The first person that I was going to say was Tim. Tim came out. He was his typical self. Come to find out, a lot of people say behind the scenes that Tim had a great sense of humor and stuff like that. KG. It was just dope, man. And I think that everybody that got in was well deserved when you think about the impact, that each one of them had on the game itself, and how it either furthered the game or brought attention to the game. That well deserved. And Vanessa, she was just class personified, man. She was absolutely amazing. The speech that she was able to put together, hold herself together to give that speech with the support of Michael Jordan, just absolutely amazing, man. Just the whole ceremony was just amazing.
All right, this is what I'm going to say, and maybe you guys will agree with me or disagree with me. I liked it. I liked the Hall of Fame weekend. I loved it. I would have been really happy if the NBA had made a change and said, you know what, we're going to have the NBA Hall of Fame weekend Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to dedicate Saturday to Kobe and let people do their Kobe, things and everything else because obviously what had happened. You know what I mean? I would have been really happy if they had did that, and only because I think that a lot of the thunder got taken away from Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett because of Kobe thing. You know what I mean? I mean, every year they do it. They have a pivotal person. Like next year is supposed to be Chris Webber because it took him so long. And I'll get to that in a second. But Kobe, because of what happened to Kobe, because of all the things that happened to Kobe, because of, the way the world was feeling and everything else. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, do you guys agree or disagree? Would you have liked to see like a special Hall of Fame edition dedicated to Kobe Bryant, and then having a couple of other people come up, like maybe, Mike is there. I mean, everybody and their mother is there. You know what I mean? Mike come up and say a few words. Kobe's, high school coach come up and say a few words. That Lakers coach come up and say a few words. Dedicate. That would have been dope to me. Not that it wasn't dope anyway, but I was just thinking, you know what? Kobe is going to go down, is definitely in the top 5, definitely top 10 of the greatest NBA players of all time. And his ending was super tragic. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, but I mean, nothing you can do with that. I think whether you make it 2 days or 1 day, I think that is going to be there. Like, that's one of those things that in life, none of us can fix, sugarcoat, or facade. It is what it is. I mean, if you're one of those other guys, you happen to be, your year of induction came the same year of Kobe, and you know what that is, and you got to respect that. It ain't no difference than other great players when they're getting honored on the same night as Michael Jordan. You got to know the excitement and the high beam, if you will, of the light is going to be on a Michael Jordan more than you. And you standing up there with him. You know, you up there with him like, hey, I'm great too, but yeah, but we're here to talk to Michael Jordan. Like, so the fact that this happened in this timing is not these guys' fault. You know what I mean? If anything, look at the positive spin of this, Frank. If anything, if I'm Tim Duncan or KG or one of them, I'm like, nobody's ever going to forget my year.
Right.
Well, you know what?
My year was on the year that the big
no. I'm not knocking it because it will be on the same. It will be on their same year. Yeah. I'm just saying because of the tragedy, I thought it would have been better if they had separated it, and because all those guys are coming in for the weekend in Springfield anyway. They all gonna be there, so they all there for Saturday. They all left Sunday. All I'm saying is, you know, put a little special spin on it, you know, and just say, hey, we're gonna do this night for Kobe because of what happened. You know, if he hadn't died, I'd been like, listen, all three do the same thing you do with Mike. You know what I mean? If he hadn't died. But because he passed away, because it was tragic, because of the, you know, and a lot of other families there, why not dedicate this Hall of Fame ceremony for this particular night to Kobe Bryant? That's all I was saying.
So you wanted more. Yeah,
I wanted more for Kobe and have people more speak up because
you had that big memorial, bro. How many memorials you want? The nigga had the fucking Staples Center, bro. What do you want? When they land on the moon, I just think when they landed on the moon, they should have laid it out for Kobe because it was the same date when we landed on the moon than when Kobe died. Nigga, how much do you want? They had the Staples Center with everybody.
At the Staples Center where everybody was there, that was his funeral. That was
you don't want to turn this into that because that's what it would have been.
Okay, maybe. What do you think?
Anytime you go hard for someone, and no disrespect to the people we lost, but anytime you go hard with anything for somebody that died, that's exactly what you're doing. You're memorializing it again.
Yeah.
Faye, what you think?
You know, my first thought was maybe they didn't do it because, you know, the amount of people that was in the location to do that 2 days in a row, maybe because of COVID, that would have been a bad thing to get together that many people together. You know what I mean? In one location to do that 2 days in a row. And, you know, people have to take time out of their regular schedule, you know, to be able to be at this event. And, you know, a lot of those, a lot of people was there was from the NBA and they have other jobs. You know, the NBA season is still going on and they have other things that's probably, you know, that they have to tend to for the rest of the season to go forward. I mean, because we're, you know, this week is playoff week.
And they knew, and so you don't agree. They gave that mic to Vanessa. They knew it was going to be a memorial again anyway.
All right, let me get to the next point of the Hall of Fame weekend. I want to ask you. I'm starting with you, Chandler. The next names got inducted is Paul Pierce. He got announced this weekend. Chris Webber after his 8 times. Chris Barr, Ben Wallace, and Tony Kukoc got into it. So what you think, Chandler?
I think skip Chris Webber again.
Nah, he got
Nah, man, you gotta go whatever amount of seconds was left when he called that timeout he didn't have. You multiply that, and then that's how many times you keep skipping his ass. You know, Chris Webber. I like the class. I like that. Kukoc is a good one. You know, I think everybody in there is well deserved. Your guy finally getting there, Boston's own Paul Pierce. You know, he needs something right now. I wonder if his jacket gonna have the Disney logo. What if Paul Pierce gonna get the Hall of Fame jacket, but with the Disney logo? No, but I like the class. I think it's very good. It's very interesting. I mean, Chris Webber, there's something going on with Chris Webber, bro.
All right, so you say Chris Webber. Okay, what you think, Fig?
I'm interested in to know what actually happened with Chris Webber. I'm glad he finally got in. I don't think it should have taken this much. I mean, I thought Chris Webber was man, I think he got stuck in purgatory, man, in Sacramento with that team. You know what I mean? Man, I thought Chris Webber was probably the best player on every team that he ever played on, man. And had he just had you know, maybe another piece or two, that he may have been able to win a couple, man. I thought he was big time. Paul Pierce, look, if you get a nickname in the NBA, you should probably make it to the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
But yeah, but my thought is that out of all these guys, I'm surprised, and I ain't gonna front. I'm surprised Chris Bosh is so early on inducted. I think he should have got a couple of passes. If Chris Webber got a couple of passes, then Chris Bosh should have got a couple of passes. That's the way I look at it. You know what I mean?
But Chris
Well,
Bosh
hold on,
make up your mind, Frank. Though.
Hold on, make up your mind, Frank.
I'm saying
The man got a heart problem.
Okay, I get
Now
that.
you don't feel sorry. The man almost died for this game.
I feel sorry.
Chris Webber had a splinter in '88. That's it.
I feel sorry. Okay, you made your point.
Chris Webber just had a lapse in time. That's all he had with
Well, Chris Bosh?
Yeah. No, Chris Webber had a lapse in time. But Chris Bosh is a two-time champion. I can't tell. I don't have it off the top of my head how many times he was an all-star. You know, he was a double-double waiting to happen.
I know his stats. I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying.
So why you think he needed to be passed over?
No. In a regular world, Frank would be correct, but the exception to the rule is the man's career unfortunately had to end early because of life-threatening issues with the heart. So because of that, you can't put it next to a Chris Webber situation. So because of that, we'll make an exception to the rule. Because if he was healthy and it ended the way, I agree with Frank. Skip him a few times. But because he almost died for the game.
Yeah, okay. You made me feel bad, so I'm gonna move on because you made me feel bad, Town.
Whenever I can't make one of these shows, you just remember I got a heart murmur.
No, I was gonna say throw it up to COVID. He got COVID today. Okay, let's move on. Oh snap! They showed Marv Albert on ESPN. He does look like that guy you said.
They showed it, right? They showed it.
David Berkowitz.
Wow.
David Berkowitz, the son of Sam.
If his cheeks was fatter, he'd definitely be David Berkowitz.
Yo, I'm telling you, man. Wait till you get a good shot of all the angles. You're gonna be. I couldn't believe it.
All right, so let's move on, man, because in the NBA, we still talk about the NBA. They got the play-in tournament is happening now. So because the play-in tournament is happening, let's look at right now. The first thing up is that it looks like the Warriors going to face the Lakers. The Lakers won their last 5 straight. The Warriors since April 10th have been 15-5, but LeBron injured his ankle. He tweaked it yesterday. Talent, concern, no concern. What's your thoughts about the Lakers facing the Warriors to find out their place in the playoffs?
Well, I seen it when he tweaked it, and he kind of walked it off, and even he said that wasn't as bad as it may have looked or people were concerned with. Obviously, we're going to be over-concerned because of you just coming back. But I'm not concerned with it. I think that this should be a good play-in situation because Lakers have picked up their play, right? But more importantly, Golden State are playing kind of like the Golden State,
right?
Like Steph Curry and the pick and rolls and the alley oops and the other dudes doing their job, and even your boy is having a wonderful season. My man they just brought over that I thought was gonna, for the last bunch of years he looked like a flop. What's my man name they got in the damn trade? He's having a wonderful season too. Wiggins. He's having they're clicking on all cylinders right now. This is one of the series I am looking forward to seeing.
Okay, Fig, what's your thoughts?
It is what it is, man. I'm not sure because of sheer size how Golden State will fare against the Lakers because they're so big in the front. With in the front court with Drummond, AD, and Gasol. I think it's a lot to overcome because the Lakers their big man that they just picked up in the draft.
We talk about the NBA, son. We talk about the NBA.
NBA, yes. Yeah. I just think it's a lot for I think it's a lot for Golden State to overcome right now. But it's the NBA, man. If those guys get hot, those other shooters in addition to Steph Curry, it could be some drama. You could really make it drama filled.
Yeah, seems like the drama is getting ready to come in there because the play-in tournament is set on figuring out where people are landing. Right now, Charlotte's getting ready to go against Indiana, and Boston's going to play Washington because of the loss that they had. Actually, 4 or 5 of their losses they had lined them up against Washington, which is scary for them. San Antonio is getting ready to line up against Memphis in the West, and Golden State, as I said, is playing against the Lakers. So, of those teams right now that are trying to figure out which series are you looking forward to most, Talon? You looking forward for Charlotte versus Indiana, Washington versus Boston, San Antonio versus Memphis, or is it Golden State versus LA the one that you're looking forward to seeing? You know, because as we all know, this play-in tournament is going to settle a lot of where people are going to be seated at to enter the playoffs.
Well, the two that I'm looking forward to most is definitely Golden State and the Lakers and the Spurs. Those seem like, I think Spurs got Memphis. Those seem like some really, really intense matchups, you know, that people are going to be balling hard. And especially that Spurs Memphis, it looks like a good matchup where we're not going to see any real blowouts. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, with LeBron and Curry, they always have 1 or 2 blowouts in a series. But I still expect it to be real competitive and interesting. But I expect that blowout is always edging, is always sitting there like it could happen. But those are the two I'm looking forward to.
Okay, Fig, what series are you looking forward to seeing the most? You got the Charlotte versus Indiana, Washington versus Boston, San Antonio versus Memphis, Golden State versus the Lakers.
Wait, did you say Boston, Washington?
Yeah, Washington versus Boston.
That's the one I want to see that because because of the players that they have, and I think Boston rested their players, their starters, the last game. I'd like to see what they look like going up against Washington. Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook against that Boston team. That looks like it'd be a really competitive game. And then, of course, I want to see if Steph Curry could be Steph Curry against the Lakers.
Okay. Postseason awards, because the NBA season is now ended. I saw them do this morning on ESPN. And I liked what they said, everything else. I want to see what and I'm going to start with you, Talent. I'm going to ask you. Postseason awards, and I already know what you guys are going to say, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
You know.
I already know. Because postseason awards, the MVP of the season, the experts picked Nikola Jokic. So far, looks like they're gonna pick Nikola Jokic because they say he played in the most games and he didn't have that many absences. And when I thought about it, I was like, that makes a lot of sense because he missed 1 game all season. He played in every game where everybody else missed some games and missed a lot of games actually, from Steph to Joel Embiid, everything else. And that's what they just said. James Harden, if you all remember, the start of the season started out hot with James Harden, you know what I mean? And then it went to Chris Paul, and then it went to, but these guys kept missing a lot of games. So it looks like the experts are going to pick Nikola Jokic. You know, we know him as the Joker. Who is your MVP for the season if you had to pick? Who would you say, Count?
I tell you, boy, they find any reason to give it to people, don't they? You know, he played the most games. But what about the other guy? He had on the most low top sneakers. That guy got it done with. This guy got it done with lace socks. 16 games of the season. Who cares about all that little intricate detail? Your MVP this year got to be and should be Chris Paul. I just don't see how it's not Chris Paul. You know what I mean? When you look at the guy, what he's doing at this stage of his career and how detrimental he is to his team and how he turned that thing around. I mean, these guys are going into big houses. Remember last year, they had a good season. They had a good playoff run. But during the season, they were going to big houses and not pull it off. I.e., you insert the Chris Paul there, they're going into big houses tearing ass up. And he's as consistent as ever. And we're talking about a guy in his tenure. You know, he's playing like first 3 rookie years. So I would have said Chris Paul, close second. I probably would have given it to Steph Curry, to be honest with you.
Bro, that's the first time I can say I unequivocally agree with you because Chris Paul's my pick for the MVP. He's my pick. Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, Fig. So, and you surprised me that I want to say that. You surprised me because I thought you were going to pick a New York Knick. But let me see who Fig picked. Fig, who's your MVP for the season?
No. Listen, I don't know. I don't know if you could go with Chris Paul. I mean, I'm looking at the standings right now, and the Nuggets are there. and they lost their starting point guard. They didn't miss too much of a beat. And like you said, the Joker's been there, man, and he has great stats. You know, the Joker's numbers has been up, and he's carried the team without his superstar point guard with him. So you know, I got the Joker.
Okay, so you're going with the Joker. Okay, let me ask you guys this question then: postseason award, most improved player of the year, and this is hands down.
That's a Nick.
Player. Go ahead.
That's a Nick. That's Julius Randle.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
You know, no question about it. You know, you ain't even got to look around the league and thinking that right there is hands down I would give to Julius Randle. The only reason I didn't put him in the MVP thing is because it's really more cohesive Knicks.
Right.
The cohesive Knicks, I like that, cohesive Knicks. The cohesive Knicks is a collective effort, and that's the only reason why I edge him back from the actual MVP. But when we talk about most improved player, hands down, unequivocally.
Big.
Got to be Julius, man. He raised his level of play on in every stat category. As far as the Knicks wins, his 3-point shooting, ball handling, like every stat, he's raised his level of play. His 3-point percentage, his regular shooting percentage, I think his free throw, like everything every stat that you can have, he raised his level this year. So I'd have to give it to Julius.
And the last big award is and I think this is exactly what's going to happen too. The most improved, well, not the most improved, the coach of the year, in my opinion, has got to go to Tom Thibodeau because of what he did with the New York. He changed the entire New York Knicks culture. Unlike Phoenix, now let's be honest, unlike Phoenix did a great job, but they already were on their way winning. The culture was already turning around. When you added that piece, that one missing piece of Chris Paul, they were going in. Tom Thibodeau turned the Knicks from losing and known as losers. He sped up their expectations, whereas people were thinking they were going to go, you know, somewhere in 2 or 3 years down to this year. So my pick for coach of the year has got to be Tom Thibodeau. Talent, you agree?
Another one. That's another. No, I agree. That's another hands down situation right there. There is no instant coffee coach in the league. He's instant coffee, bro. He's hominy grits. He cream of wheat. All those things you just add water to. That's what he did. You know what I mean? In one season, you're right. I am, even me, a diehard Knicks fan, gave him 2, 3, 4 more seasons. We're gonna turn it around. And his brother came in here, and I had completely negative 47% faith in this man. You know, he just got a weird look. But he about his business, and more importantly, they play for him. And to me, that always makes the difference in a good coach and a great coach is if you can get these guys to buy in and play for you. So hands down, I agree with you. Tom Thibodeau, coach of the year.
Before I even ask you, Fig, the same question, they only got, 2 or 3 additional players. They had the same roster, right? You know what I mean? They got A.J. Barrett in the draft. They got maybe one other additional player. So they had the same roster.
RJ was there last year.
Okay, so they got somebody. They got one. Oh, they had to get one player from the draft. So basically, Tom Thibodeau turned that team around with maybe 1 or 2 different extra players. He's got to be coach of the year. Fig, your thoughts?
I give it to you, man. I had to look up the stats from last year. Last year, we were in 12th place and 21 wins. This year, we're in 4th place and 41 wins. Not much of a difference in players in the roster, as you say. I got to give it to Tom Thibodeau, man. Most improved player with Julius Randle and definitely coach of the year simply because of who he had on his roster. I mean, we don't have the stars. I love what Monty Williams did with Phoenix, but Phoenix has some bona fide stars. You know what I mean? Some sure enough stars. You got Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker. I mean, like we don't have one player on the Knicks like those dudes. So I would give it to Tom Thibodeau for those reasons.
I'm giving it to Tom Thibodeau for one reason only. He came in and basically had 95% of the same roster that was a horrible roster and turned that team around. And I don't think nobody, if I can remember correctly, I don't think any person any NBA expert. I don't even think we picked the Knicks to be in the playoffs this year. I don't think
no,
nobody.
not this year.
That's my point. I don't think nobody, even Knicks fans that I know, picked them. But everybody, here's the thing with Phoenix. Everybody picked the Phoenix Suns to be in the playoffs, but nobody expected them to be this good. Me, I told you guys at the beginning of the season, and I remember specifically, I said, I think Chris Paul is going to turn that team absolutely right. I didn't think he was going that high, but if I remember correctly, I think you said talent, they're going to be in 8th, 9th. I said, no, I think they're going to be 4th or 5th. I did not think they were going to be 2nd. You know what I mean? They did better than even my expectations. So kudos to Phoenix, but Tom Thibodeau, not only could he be the coach of the year, he might be the coach of the last 5 years. You know what I mean? Because that's a phenomenal. No, all jokes aside, that I can't think in recent memory, and I'm trying to think right now, where a coach came in and had the exact same roster and took the roster from not making the playoffs at one of the worst teams in the league.
I don't remember it ever happened.
I don't think it. Now I'm gonna check when I get off and say, did anybody ever turn that team around with the exact same roster? I don't think it ever happened. I gotta look into that. But anyway, we gotta jump into some football because we got a little bit of time left, and the time is going by fast. Urban Meyer is driving people crazy what he's doing now. Okay, here's the thing that he did. I don't know if you heard, talent, but he drafted Travis Etienne. I can't never pronounce this dude's name, but he drafted him this year as a running back. He tore up the SEC. He's a phenomenal running back. And over the last week when they got him in there, they have him doing plays as a wide receiver. Yeah. So he also got Tim Tebow. I think they signed him officially, made it official. Tim Tebow hasn't played since 2012 as a tight end. Yeah. They also brought in a coach who had been fired from a program because of how he was treating white players versus black players and playing the black players who were injured harder than he was playing the white. Urban Meyer did all this in the last 4 or 5 weeks. What are your thoughts about Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars? What's going on?
Well, I've seen this movie before. This is the Bad News Bears. This is the Mighty Ducks 2. Let me tell you something. People stretch so hard to be remembered for doing something that this is where we are now. I'm going to be that guy that people going to think I'm a genius. I took this running back, made him a receiver. I took this quarterback, made him a receiver. Watch this. This is a huge jump out there. I give him a H for heart because it takes a lot of heart to do some goofy stuff that he's doing right now. And who knows? Stranger things have happened. Mess around and the brothers shine with this. We all gonna eat crow and be like, this dude is the greatest thing since Oscar Mayer. You know what I'm saying? But I think right now in hindsight, just looking at it, I think it's bold. I think it's courageous. But at the end of the day, I think it's crazy.
Vic, what you think?
I don't think Urban Meyer is really urban. I don't even like that. You need to change his name because clearly he's not urban because he didn't do anything for the urban community, if you will. Yeah, man, this kid, man, this running back was like, he was good at his position. And then you take this guy and you turn him into a receiver. And you didn't mention this, Frank. They talking about quite possibly letting Tim Tebow line up behind center. Mm-hmm. I'm like, Urban, this better work, Urban. It better work, or you will be working for your cousin Oscar. You will be working for Oscar Mayer if this don't work out for you. That's all I'm trying to say.
Honestly, I think it's going to be a disaster because a couple of ex-Patriots players, a couple of ex-NFL players all around said Tim Tebow's not big enough to play tight end, and he's going to probably be playing tight end. And a couple of players said this morning they don't see why you would use your draft position if you wanted a running back when there were several good. I mean, if you wanted a wide receiver when there were several good wide receivers on the board, like why would you take a guy out of position and do that? So a couple of people said that. But I want to move on to the next story because that story, we could talk about that for an hour all by itself. But the next story I want to talk about is since we were on Friday, Green Bay signed another quarterback. I don't know if y'all heard this. So now they have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. They got Kurt Benkert they signed on Friday. So now you got 4 QBs on the roster. So what's that tell you, talent? It looks like to me that Aaron Rodgers is not going to be in Green Bay. To me, what's your thoughts?
Well, I took the man on his word when he said he wasn't coming back. I'm one of them dudes. If you lead a club and say, T, I'm not coming back, I'd be like, you're not coming back. You know what I mean? Like, I take him for his work. I don't need all of this extra stuff happening. Oh my God, they cleaned this lockout. What you think? The man said he's not coming back. I took him on the word the first day. If I'm his teammate, yo, just so you know, I know you about to sign and re-up. I'm not coming back next year. I'll be like, yo, fam told me not coming back. I don't know if I want to sign. Let me think about it for a minute. I took him on his word. I believed him the first time he uttered it, because a guy like Aaron Rodgers, with that stature and that power in the NFL and that tenure, he wouldn't even utter those words if he didn't mean it 100%.
Yeah.
So all of this stuff is just putting those stamps on each page. You know, the contract had several hundred pages, just stamping and stamping. These are just stamps. But I already believed him at his first word. He's not coming back.
I believe him at his first word, and then when he started calling other players, telling him he wasn't coming back, I believe he ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. So
if a friend of yours tell you he slept with your woman, he did it.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Fig.
The talent analogy threw me off there for a second. Yeah, man, listen. Listen. Aaron Rodgers came out of his mouth and said, me playing so well last year threw a monkey wrench in their plans, which means that now it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. So now Aaron feels like he's in a place of power and he's going to get back at you. Aaron Rodgers holds a grudge, man. This dude is holding a grudge, and he's upset with the fact that Green Bay did what they did to him. And not so much the drafting of the quarterback, Jordan Love, and moving up to get him, but the fact when he went to the front office and wanted to offer his opinion and a few suggestions as how he thought that he might be doing better on the field. And they told him basically, yo, get out of my office. We got this. You do what you do and we do what we do. I think he's out of there, man.
All right, Fig got the last word, y'all. It's time for us to roll up out of here. Talent to everybody out there, how they can follow you, bro.
Hey, follow me, especially today, WEMSradio.com at 6 o'clock, Motivation Mondays. My handle on Twitter is at It's Just Comedy. I'm Talent the Comedian with a DA, Talent the Comedian on Instagram. Holla at your boy.
Fig.
This is it, your boy Comedian Fig, all social media platforms. Monday through Friday, we right here on the box seats, baby, 1 to 2 p.m. My boy Talent FIG. I'm gonna be watching them next. What about them next?
All right, y'all. We get ready to roll up out of here. That's the name of the show. Of course, it's on the Humor Mill channel. We'll see y'all tomorrow. You know what we got to do? We got to talk about. We got to interview some people. We got to talk about some developing stories that are happening right now. Some stuff I just saw flash across the screen. I'm gonna have to dig in deep with that. Anyway, the show, like they said, is box seats. Channel's Humor Mill. Thanks y'all for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Peace.